Hello, good morning to everybody, all of our attendees. My name is Kevin, and I'm here with Novedge Marketing Manager, Aurora Meneghello. Aurora, would you like to say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Lynn. Thank you for attending today's very special webinar.
Very cool. And we'd both like to welcome you all to our latest Novedge webinar series episode. We're very excited today because we have with us Lynn Allen. Lynn Allen, please. Well, Lynn, could you say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay?
Please?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Cool. Well, today's webinar presentation is pre-recorded and will be about 40 minutes long. Afterwards, we'll have a brief Q&A session where Lynn will answer your questions live. So feel free to submit your questions to us at any time into the question box, chat window below. So here we go. So if you guys don't know who Lynn is the Autodesk Technical Evangelist. She speaks to more than 30,000 users worldwide each year. She is also a columnist for Cadalyst magazine and is the voice behind the popular AutoCAD series video tip videos, which comes out every week, I think, right, Lynn?
Every 2 weeks, every other Tuesday.
Every other Tuesday, because I always see them in my email inbox as well. So I'm a fan too, Lynn.
Oh.
So she is a sought-after public speaker with a unique comedic style, if you guys cannot tell that already, and she is always one of the highest-rated speakers at Autodesk University. So we are very happy to have her with us, and I think you guys are very happy too. You guys are going to find this webinar extremely beneficial. Let's see. But before we get going with the presentation, here's an overview of what we do at Novedge.
And Kevin, if I can jump in, I think this is Lynn's first webinar on AutoCAD 2014, right?
It is my very first AutoCAD 2014 live.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for sponsoring it.
Now I feel so bad for having a product page making this announcement. I apologize for that. But yeah, the Novedge webinar series is brought to you by Novedge.com. As one of the largest online design software stores, we offer a huge assortment of software solutions that cater to virtually every designer's need. If you're interested in purchasing a copy of AutoCAD Design Suite Premium 2014, it is available in the United States from us at Novedge with zero sales tax. To learn more about Autodesk Professional All-in-One Package for architects and designers, I encourage you to call and check in with our Autodesk specialist, Scott Hester. You can reach him by his email address at scott@novedge.com. Aurora would like to share a few things too as well. Aurora.
Thank you, Kevin. So next week we have I'm sorry, before that, check our Facebook page, Novedge, and you can see all the latest pictures that Kevin took at Maker Faire 2013 in the Bay Area. If you missed that, you definitely want to at least look at the pictures. And then on the blog, he wrote about his experience there, and we post interviews twice every week with artists and innovators. So, and then let me just go into our upcoming webinar right here. In next week's webinar, Technical Support Manager Uday from Microsoft will showcase a LibreCAM's efficient workflow and machining methods. You will be able to see for yourself why a LibreCAM is a powerful solution for a wide range of machining applications. Whether it's for production, mold and die, prototyping, woodworking, general purpose, or hobby machining, LibreCAM's seamless integration inside the Libre design makes it a valuable and affordable tool for manufacturing. So this is next Wednesday at 11 a.m. as usual.
Thank you, Aurora. And I also like to remind everybody that if you have to leave, if you have lunch, breakfast, dinner, maybe, if you missed something and you want to rewatch this webinar, it is pre-recorded. So all of the questions, all of the improv, the humor, Lynn is going to be recorded. So, I mean, you can visit our channels on vimeo.com/Novedge and also at youtube.com/Novedge for the upload. All right. Now that we're done with the intro, Lynn, are you ready?
I am ready. Cool. And thank you for the very, very nice introduction. Are you ready to hand it over to me then?
Yes. Yeah. I have to think about it. All right. Here we go.
I think, do you have to change presenter?
Yes, I'm handing you the baton right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Cool.
Perfect. All right, so I am hoping, and I'm going to close this up a little bit here so it gets out of the way, hoping that all of you can see a nice PowerPoint slide that says getting the most out of AutoCAD Design Suite 2014. Kevin, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. He probably just muted himself. I surprised him. So I wanted to explain to all of you that I'm actually going to play a video that I recorded literally yesterday, last few days, because when you do a live webcast and you have a demo in it, oftentimes I'll be like talking and demoing on my screen and you guys will be far behind me because of the lag time. So I've chosen to record it all ahead of time. It's going to feel to you like it's a live webcast, just so you have the best experience possible. I'm going to be here the whole time live in case anything happens, and at the very end, I'm going to answer questions as well. And just kind of because of the setup, I'm not going to be able to see the questions ahead of time, so you're going to surprise me with those questions at the end. We'll see how I do on the spot. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play this video and then Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me on this webcast about the AutoCAD Design Suite 2014. Some great features inside of the latest release of AutoCAD, and I am very much looking forward to showing them to you. And a great big huge thank you to Novedge as well for inviting me to participate in this webcast. So if it is okay with you, I'm going to just jump right into the new features inside of AutoCAD 2014. All right, let's cut out all the nonsense. We're going to go straight to the point so I can show you as many features as possible. All right, so first off, I'm going to talk about the user interface because, well, if you're not comfortable with the user interface, you are not going to like AutoCAD 2014, right? So the first set of features inside of AutoCAD 2014 have to do with the command line. Isn't AutoCAD only program out there that still uses a command line? I'm pretty sure it is. But we love our command line. Every time Autodesk tries to take it out, we scream and shout. So there's some really cool features that have been added in. Finally, Autodesk has embraced the command line and made it even better. So those of you who are command line lovers, you know who you are. I'm raising my hand. You're going to love these new features. The first one is autocorrect. Awesome. If you spell a command wrong, it's going to figure it out anyway and execute it. Like if you type in table, T-A-B-E-L, it's going to figure out that you actually mean the table command and not give you that evil error message, unknown command. Autocomplete has been in AutoCAD for many releases, and now it supports midstream searches. So what that means to you is if you type in, for example, set, S-E-T, it's not going to just look for the commands that start with set. It's actually going to look for any commands that have set anywhere inside of it at all. And you take a look in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see in this case, I keyed in settings. So we'll look at that. Adaptive suggestions. Your command line is going to get smarter and smarter, and it's going to show you the commands that you use more frequently at the top of the list, making it easier for you to grab the commands that you're after. Synonym suggestions. This is great for those of you who use multiple CAD systems or more than one CAD system and you get a mix-up. And it could even just be AutoCAD and Revit, or it could be AutoCAD and Inventor, or it could be MicroStation and AutoCAD. You can set up synonyms. You know, for example, if I type in symbol, which is a MicroStation command, it would know to execute the insert command. That's actually already set up for you. And you can customize it yourself. Very, very powerful. You'll also find that whenever you start to key in a command, you can go to any selected command and have it go outside of AutoCAD for an internet search. So not just help internally with the program, but it can search for everything out there on the internet, like YouTube videos, for example, that can help you with that command. There's also a content search capability, which I really love. For example, if you type in window, it's going to show you all the blocks that are window blocks. It's going to show you any layers that have any window, and then we'll show you any dimension styles, making it easy for you to kill two birds with one stone. I'll show you that as well. And there's one more page here, because there's so many new features inside of the command line. Let's take a look at a couple more. You have complete control over how this is set up. So if you don't like some of these new additions, turn them off. It's not a problem. You can set it up to work exactly the way you want to work. And as I mentioned to you earlier, you can control that synonym list and add or subtract any synonyms on them or modify them. And you can also modify the autocorrect capability. So it's so great that AutoCAD is so customizable. I love that. So you can set it up to work the way you like to work. All right, enough PowerPoint. Let's dive into AutoCAD 2014. All right, so here we are inside of AutoCAD 2014. For those of you who haven't upgraded yet, this is what it looks like. Not a huge difference from 2013. A couple of changes you're going to see. We're going to talk about these tabs here, for example. We'll get to those later. Right now we're focusing, of course, on the command line, right? So let's take a look at some of those things that I talked about. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say, oh, spelled line wrong, and look, it was smart enough to execute the line command. Or how about if I spelled table? It's smart enough to execute the table command spelled correctly, right? Nice, because let's face it, us CAD operators are not known for our amazing abilities to spell, correct? So, nice new feature. I also mentioned to you that AutoCAD supports mid-string search now as far as the command line is concerned. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to type in settings, and you'll see that it executes all of these different system variables that has to do with settings, right? Quite a few. So settings is at the end of most of those, but it's able to find them for me. This is great because I can never remember which settings I'm after. It has the word settings in it, but I don't know. Is it D settings? Is it B settings? So that's also quite nice. And even if it was in the middle of a word, it would find it as well. I also mentioned to you that AutoCAD 2014 can search for content. For example, if I type in the word door, you will see that, well, it tried to figure out if I was spelling something not quite right. That would be that option there. But you'll see that it also allows me to insert a block of a door. Or check this out. I can click on layer. It actually sets it to be the current layer. Love that. That's pretty cool. This is for those of you who are so into your command line that you really like to type. You know who you are. All right. Another new feature for the command line is the ability to search for synonyms. For example, if I type in symbol, if I type in symbol, you will see that it's happy to execute the insert command, because in MicroStation, right, the symbol command is equivalent to our insert command. Or if I type in zip, because a lot of us think of zipping up files, you'll see that it will execute the transmit command for you. So very, very friendly. And the cool thing is that you can customize this any way that you want. So you can set up your preferred synonyms. Let me show you how easy it is to do that. I'm going to come up here to manage. And edit aliases has been there for a long time, but you'll see there are two new options. One that allows you yourself to go in and edit that autocorrect list. I'm going to go to the synonym list. All right, so this looks just like the PGP file because technically it is the PGP file. So I can come down here. Well, let's take a look in here. For example, there's symbol, right? You'll see symbol. I type in symbol. It executes the insert command on the right there with an asterisk in front of it and a comma in between. Zip. You'll see zip. I typed in zip. It executed e-transmit. Well, let's add our own. Let's do one for the donut command. Krispy Kreme's a little bit long to key in. How about Dunkin'? Dunkin' Donuts. All right. And a comma. And then a space. All very important. And then an asterisk. And then the donut command. You know, it doesn't need to be uppercase like it is on there. All right. So there is no save on here. It's kind of unusual. There's no save. This is just Notepad. You can do file and you can do save, or if you go to exit, it's actually going to give you the same option. So save. It's up to you, however you want to do it. Now, type in Dunkin' right now. It's going to have no idea what I'm talking about because the PGP file doesn't take effect until you leave AutoCAD and you come back in, which I'm totally not going to do. That'll take too much time. There is a sneaky command that allows you to get around that called reinit. I'm going to execute the reinit command. That's for reinitialize. You don't need to remember this. In most cases, you can just leave AutoCAD and come back, like I said. You'll see that there's an option right here for the PGP file. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and say OK. Now, if I type in Dunkin', D-U-N-K-I-N, executes the donut command. Yay! All right, so what else can I do? Set that up anywhere you want. Have fun with your coworkers, right? You can completely change all the commands inside of AutoCAD. Kind of fun though. Also, just to show you a couple of other things, if you go to settings, you'll see that you have the ability to control any of these. If you don't like them, you can turn them off. A simple click will turn them off. I can't stand that midstream search. By all means, you can turn it off. There is also a dialog box, input search options. It has all kinds of ways that you can customize the way this works for your command line. So when I did a content type, remember I typed in the word door, it found a block called door that had the word door in it, and it found a layer that had the word door in it. Could have also found a hatch pattern. Why you would have a door hatch pattern, I can't imagine. But you'll see these are all the things it searches for: hatches and text styles and dimension styles and visual styles. Maybe you want to control this. You only want it to search for blocks and layers. You can certainly turn this off. It's completely up to you. You'll see once again you can turn off that midstream search. There are a variety of things that you could do, right? set this up exactly the way you want it to work. Great. One last thing that I haven't shown you yet. If I type in set, we'll just do something like set, you will see there's all kinds of commands that have set in them. And then you'll see when you get down there, this is actually a system variable. There are all kinds of system variables that have the word set in them. And rather than show them all to you and overwhelm you and scare you, there's a plus at the end. You can click on that plus, and it will show you all of the system variables that have the word set somewhere in it. So you will, if you don't see a system variable that isn't showing up, it's probably because you need to expand the category. And that's just AutoCAD's way of not overwhelming you with too many options. All right, so one last thing. If I type in AR, you will see that I get a list with array at the top, an arc, and an area. So this list is controlled by your frequency. So the more I use the arc command, the more likely it's going to move to the top of the list. If I use the area command all the time, it might move to the top of the list. So my listing is probably different than your listing. Could be, maybe it's not. Maybe it's if we use them in the exact same order. Just realize that as you continue to use AutoCAD, that command line is going to get smarter and smarter and smarter, and it's going to allow you to get to your commands faster, which I love. All right, so let's go back over to the PowerPoint now that we are command line experts. So let's take a look at one of my favorite new features inside of AutoCAD 2014, just because it's so logical. How has this not been in here before, right? So now we finally have file tabs of all of your open drawings right there inside of the drawing editor. All right, so let's take a look at how these file tabs work. Back over to AutoCAD. If you take a look at the drawing editor inside of AutoCAD 2014, you will see that all of the open drawings are now displayed in file tab format. I love this. And notice as I move my cursor over the open drawing files, it is showing you the layout tabs that exist inside of that particular drawing file. You'll also notice if I move my cursor over a layout tab that it will automatically change the background to give you the appropriate layout tab. Now it doesn't actually physically move me to it at that point. I'd have to click on it, but it is just giving me a nice preview. You'll also see inside of each of the layout tabs you have the option to do a plot or a publish. Love that, without having to actually physically go to that layout tab. All right, what else? Once again, as I move my cursor across here, you will see that it's showing you the different open drawing files and the layout tabs in each one of them. Very, very powerful. Now, if it turns out that you get so many drawing files that are open that they don't all fit, which can happen, don't worry. You go to the very end down here, you will see that there's a couple of arrows. You can click on there, and that will also show you all of the open drawing files, so you can easily get to the one that you're after. Some of these drawing files, you'll notice, in this case, there's a lock on here. You can see the lock down here, too. That means that that file is read-only, so as you know, you can't save it, right? Make changes and save it. And some of these you'll see have asterisks after them. That means that they have been edited and they need to be saved. Some more information for you. Now I actually love this right-click option on here because there's some very cool things if you right-click on any of the tabs. Now these are basic, right? New, open, save, blah, blah, blah. But I really like this close all except this tab. Super handy. You don't even have to be in the drawing file. You can just right-click on the drawing file that you want to leave open. Everything else will be closed down. Yay, pretty cool. That's very, very fast and efficient. Copy full file path. Let's say that you wanted to send a link to this drawing file to somebody else so they could grab it from a directory somewhere. You could copy that and we'll copy it to the clipboard. And open file location. I'm totally going to click on that just because. I'm always wondering what directory a drawing file is in because I'm not organized. I hope you are more organized than me. Let's hope. So I actually love this option because I can quickly go see what directory that drawing file was in. It's better than going to properties or doing a save as. You know, we all have our different tricks of figuring that out, but I actually do like that feature. All right, let's go back where we were inside of AutoCAD. So one more thing. Let's say you want to create a new drawing file. Of course, you can come up here and click New. You can go into the application and you click New, but you can also click on this little plus right here, and this is going to create a new drawing file for you. Now, if you have a default template set, it's just going to use that and run with it. It's actually executing the QNew command. But if you don't have a default template file set, it will ask you to select a template file before it creates a new one. All right, so let's say for some reason, known to man, you don't like these file tabs. Why? I don't know, because I love them. You can turn them off. Simply go to View View, and you'll see an option there for File tabs, and they go away. Oh, sadness. And put it back. But just so you know, we try to make it so that if there's something in there, a new feature you don't like, you don't have to be forced to use them in most cases, right? Not all cases, in most cases. All right, those are File tabs. They are awesome. They rock, and you should try them. Back over to our PowerPoint. So I think that these next few features I'm not going to show you. I think you guys are smart. You're going to completely understand what I'm talking about. So the first one is if you've ever created layers that were numbered, you know that AutoCAD has a very unusual way of displaying them in the layer dialog box. If you had, take a look there on the right, 1, 3, 30, 40, 5, and 9, you would expect them to display in the order that the numbers are if you were to count them. So you'd expect them to display 1 first, and then a 3, and a 5, and then 9 is bigger, and 30 is bigger, and 40 is bigger, and so on and so forth, right? That's what you would expect. It would go in some type of numerical order. However, that's not the way it works. If you typed in those values in AutoCAD 2013 and before, the same values, you would get a 1 and a 3, and then it would go to 30, because it starts with the 3, and then it would go 40, because that starts with the 4, and then it would go to the number 5, and then it would go to 9. So, like a really bad kindergarten class is waiting to happen, right? So that has been corrected inside of AutoCAD 2014. I think you're going to like that if you've run into this issue in the past. And then layer merge used to be an Express tool, right? And then it grew up and it became a real-life AutoCAD command a few releases ago. Yay for layer merge. So now they've incorporated it into the layer dialog box. I like that. If you see, take a look on the screen there, you can see a picture of the option for merge selected layers together. So how does this work? This is if you have, one or more layers that you want to combine onto one specific destination layer. So what will happen is you select the layers that you want to be added and combined to the destination layers, and it will do exactly that. All the objects will take on the properties of the destination layer, and then it will delete the layers that you merged. So it kind of does a purge at the same time. So it's a very, very powerful command. It comes in handy, especially if you're combining multiple, drawings together into one format, or if you have to change standards or things like that. Anyway, very valuable command, lay merge. And I know many of you use Xrefs, so these changes are kind of subtle, but they make sense. I'm actually going to jump to the second one first. The Xref layers are now omitted from properties. So it used to be you would go into the property dialog box and all of the Xref layers would display as well. You can't really do anything with them in properties anyway, so there was no point. It was just that you would get inundated with too many layers. So they're no longer in properties. They still show up on the ribbon, in the drop-down list in the ribbon, and of course they show up in the layer dialog box, but in properties they're gone. And if you have line types from Xrefs, you will see that on the ribbon for the properties palette that the Xref line types, you can't do anything with them, right? As they are, you can't do anything with them. They're not displayed either. They're on the ribbon or in the properties palette. Okay, and then this other change is going to save you a little bit of time. If you've ever wanted to change the attachment type, right, you wanted to go from attach to overlay of multiple Xrefs, you know quite well that you get to do them one at a time. Now finally you can highlight multiple Xrefs and it will allow you to change them all to attach or all to overlay. In fact, if you do them one at a time, you can actually double click on attach or overlay now and it will switch it from one to the other. That's also pretty cool, but not on this PowerPoint. All right, so let's move on. So I don't know how many of you work with reality capture or if any of you work with point clouds and scanners, but you will find that all of the Hugo products, and I mean like AutoCAD and Revit and Inventor, all come with this great new program called Recap. It is focused around reality capture. And it is a totally separate application. It comes free along with the suite. So you're going to get it. Whether you like it or not, you're going to get it. But it's a very, very powerful application. If you're familiar with point clouds at all, you know that point clouds are big, slow, cumbersome files. You want to slow down your AutoCAD, put a point cloud in it. You get paid by the hour, put lots of point clouds in it. So it really slows down your ability to draw and edit inside of AutoCAD. So Recap gets there first. You're going to use Recap to put all of your point clouds in it, and it's going to speed them all up, make them all lightning fast, so that when you do take them into AutoCAD or Revit, for example, those point clouds are going to be fast and mighty. All right, it's a really interesting program. Once again, it comes free of charge. Definitely suggest that you take advantage of it if you are into reality capture. And you don't have to have a gazillion-dollar scanner to use Recap. You can actually just use your phone. Or if you want to get fancy, you can use a really nice camera. but I'll show you some examples of this, all right? So in most cases, we start out with a blank slate, right? This happens to be Revit, could easily be AutoCAD, right? So we start out with a blank slate. But in reality, whatever we're designing, in most cases, it goes someplace. In most cases, if we're not working off in a blank location, right? So wouldn't it be so much better if you could work in a situation where you could start off with the actual location for what you're designing. And this is a point cloud file. It looks almost like the real thing, doesn't it? I'm going to go ahead and click on here. We'll see how good the experience is for you. I'm doing a video inside of a video. But you can see this is a pretty impressive point cloud. These point clouds were run through Recap to make them faster. And they were brought, in this case, into Revit, but you could also bring them into AutoCAD. So just to kind of recap there, with CAD we usually start with a blank sheet of paper, right, which is not realistic. Everything that we work with, for the most part, has an existing environment. So reality capture allows you to take it to the next level and design in context, which is just so much more efficient. So here we have two different types of point clouds inside of AutoCAD. All right, so the one on the left is from the 2013 products brought into AutoCAD, a point cloud. The one on the right, look at that. It looks so realistic. Looks like the real thing, like you could reach out and touch it. That is from the 2014 products. So on the left, you could bring 2 billion points into AutoCAD. Look at this, over 20 billion points. And if you run it through Recap, you're going to go fast. Because you can imagine bringing 20 billion points into AutoCAD. It would slow AutoCAD to a grinding halt. That's why you need Recap. Recap's going to sort that all out so you can be fast and effective with point clouds inside of the design environment. So here's an example of Recap Photo, which is another application that you have access to free of charge. So Recap Photo, let me go ahead and click on here. Recap Photo does exactly that. It works with just a regular camera. Technically, it could be your cell phone. You have a little drone here or there that flew over the building. You probably don't have one of those laying around, but I bet you wish you did. You want to fly over the building so you get the roof, right? So you could also rent a helicopter. Stand on a really tall mountain. But you do usually want to try to get the roof if you can. You don't have to. So those were all the pictures that were taken from the camera. And then Recap Photo is going to put them all together and create a 3D model out of it. Look at that. That's amazing. Once again, extremely realistic. You can tell, look at that. It looks like you're right there with the sign. Now the goal of this is we're going to add in a second floor. It's not really to spin around. It kind of feels like it is. But our goal is to add in the second floor, and we're going to do it using the existing building, which makes complete sense. This is incredibly accurate. Point clouds are very precise. They're basically just XYZ coordinates that are stored together in a big cloud, kind of like a bunch of mosquitoes, just like it sounds. So we're going to go into AutoCAD, and we're going to go ahead and trace right on top of the point cloud. Once again, 2013 or before, this would have been very slow and very cumbersome. It's very easy now. Speedy. You can turn off this point cloud environment at any time. If it gets in your way, it starts to you can turn it off when you have the points that you need. There you go. Just that simple. Easy peasy. Recap. Definitely give it a try. If you have it, might as well try it, right? Now we're going to move on to Geographic Location. So Geographic Location has been in AutoCAD for a while, but it's been greatly improved inside of AutoCAD 2014, including the support for Bing Maps, which is fantastic. So this gives you the Geographic Location, for those of you who haven't worked with it before, gives you the opportunity to work with your design in context of the actual location. So you can pull up an aerial view or a road view and include it in your design to work with. Very, very helpful. It also comes in handy if you do rendering because you can set an actual sun angle based on where you are anywhere on planet Earth, right? It's very, very helpful. And for those of you who work with AutoCAD Map 3D, you're going to see that it has the same coordinate system library. Many, many options when it comes to selecting the proper coordinate system. Okay, let's see it in action. So here we are inside of AutoCAD 2014, and this is an interesting floor plan. A colleague of ours purchased a church in the UK, and he wants to live in it. So he designed this floor plan, and what we'd like to do is to place it in the actual location on the map. Take a look and see if the design makes sense, just to kind of give it a better perspective, right? So pretty interesting. It'd be pretty awesome to live in a nice big church, right? So we're going to go to the Insert tab on the ribbon, and we're going to go to Set Location. And I'm going to grab it from a map, from Live Maps. which, as I mentioned to you before, is courtesy of Bing, right? Now, let me give you a heads up. If you are not logged into your Autodesk 360 account, this will not happen. Make sure you log in first, all right? So I'm going to type in an address. Let's start off by kind of more of a generic one. Let's do Bradford, UK. And you'll see that it comes up with 3 different locations for Bradford. I can click down this list. It will show me the 3 different locations. You can also see, I happen to have it set to automatic. If you wanted to, you could say, you know, I'd like to see this from a bird's eye view. Kind of interesting. Or you can switch it just to plain old aerial photographs, completely whatever you want. Now, we're not actually going to Bradford. That's not where the church is. The church actually is in Lowmore, the UK. And it has only one address. That's why that wasn't as exciting. I wanted to show you a different one first. And you can see right there, if that's the right location, you can say drop the marker here. So Lowmore is kind of generic. In reality, the church is right down here. So my goal is to move that marker so that it's actually closer to the church. Let's collapse that, right? And I'm going to grab that pin, and I'm going to move it down here. Let's see how good a shot I am today. I'm going to zoom in because I'm not convinced. One more. Zoom in a little bit more. I want to get right on the corner of that building. So I'm going to grab that pen and put it right on the corner. That looks pretty good. Because we need to line it up in our drawing file. You don't want to just randomly drop a pin. You want it to be in the right location. That makes sense, right? So taking a look at this, you'll see the latitude and the longitude of where that pin is. You can do that manually as well if you prefer. I want you to also notice that the coordinate system is World Mercator. And let me just say that's a very generic coordinate system and probably not going to do the job for you. As soon as you drop that pin, it's going to give you coordinate systems that are relative to the area that you're in. So you're going to pick one that's better. In this case, I'm going to switch over to the British Nat Grid. That's a much better coordinate system for what we're doing to make sure that we get the best results. Now, that automatically scales the drawing based on that coordinate system. You'll also see that the drawing units are optional as well, but I like to leave it the way it was set up to begin with, but you can make changes to it if you want to. So what else can I do? I can switch over to road if I want to get some idea what this looks like from a road standpoint. Completely up to you. Or I like to do, actually, you know what else we can do? We can do bird's eye view, right? It's another option, give you a little clearer picture of that church. I like to switch it to automatic so that if it's zoomed out, it's going to give you the road map, and if you're zoomed in, you're going to get an actual aerial photograph. So I think that's it. We're inside of the geographic location dialog box. Let's go ahead and hit continue. And now, you saw where I dropped the pin in the map. We need to click on here where we want that pin to match up with. So I'm going to grab the lower left-hand corner, and I'm going to grab the upper left-hand corner for north. It wants to know where is your north, right? Now, I currently have maps off. I want you to see it added a geolocation tab on the ribbon. I'm going to turn those maps on. Let's see how we did. Well, we're kind of close. It's not quite the right angle. It looks like I could use a little reorientation. But before I do that, let's come down over here and show you what Map Road looks like. You can even do a hybrid, right? So let's reorient that marker. Let's get it a little bit better. We want the same point, but I want to pull it off just a little bit so I can angle it just a little bit more. Let's turn that map back on. Let's see how we did. Yeah, it's close. You can see I'm still a little bit off. I'd have to do a little bit more work to get that correct, but I think that you get the general idea. So there are a variety of things you can do. You can edit the location. That takes you back into the map, reorient the marker. I probably would need to go back into the map to easily fix this, get it just right. You saw the different options that I had up here for the way I wanted it to display. The map gets in your way, just turn it off, no problem. And well as that is, you can change the marker position. So pretty cool technology, don't you think? That is geographic location. I want you to give it a try. I happen to know the first thing that you're all going to do is you're going to key in your address. At least that's the first thing I did. So, all right, back over to the PowerPoint. The next set of commands has to do with improvements to what I refer to as everyday AutoCAD commands. Those commands that we use all the time. And I love these improvements because if you can remove a click or a pick from something that I do all day long, well, that is a beautiful thing. Am I right? That is why I like these so much. Get rid of the tedium. There's quite a bit of tedium in AutoCAD, and we want as little of it as possible. So I'm going to just talk about these. Once again, I'm not going to show them to you because these are commands you're familiar with. So the first one, very simple. We've all run into that situation where we wanted to draw an arc clockwise, and as you know, AutoCAD much prefers to draw arcs counterclockwise. So if you run into the situation where it's not going in the right direction, no problem. Hold down the Control key, and you'll have the right arc that you want in no time at all. Simple change can make a big difference, though, for those of you who draw a lot of arcs. If you've ever tried to fillet a polyline with itself, you know that AutoCAD yells at you. You can't do that. Warning, warning. So now you'll find that the fillet command is much more easier going, and it will allow you to fillet a polyline with itself. For those of you who are really into sheet sets, and this is kind of for those of you who are really into sheet sets, you'll notice that by default, the Create Date field always reflected the template file, which is not what you want. The Create Date field should reflect the new drawing sheet that you've added, right? So just so you know, that's been changed as well. And for those of you who work with blocks with attributes, which is almost all of you, you know that by default, AutoCAD does not display a dialog box for the attributes, right? They show up with the command line. Very archaic. So now, by default, the attribute dialog box will show up. That's the same as setting dia to 1, right? So that was a great improvement. You know, we don't always use mtext. A lot of us still use single line text, which is actually the ttext command, right? And I'm sure you've noticed that AutoCAD never remembers the last justification. Well, finally, the last justification will remain the default in that drawing file, which is wonderful. Love that. It will remember the last justification setting. And this last one is very cool. So if you do a baseline dimension or continue dimension, you select the base dimension to work off of, right? And by default, AutoCAD uses the current dimension style as opposed to the dimension style of the dimension that you selected. Am I correct? So oftentimes we find out too late that we forgot to change the dimension style. So now you don't have to think about it. A new system variable called dim continue mode will allow you to just select any dimension, go into baseline or continue, and it will use the same dimension style as the original dimension. Make sense? Hope it does. That's the way it should be. So how many of you have been to Autodesk 360 or have tried it or put any files up on Autodesk 360? Raise your hands. I'm going to pretend that I can see you have a very active imagination. I'm going to hope a whole bunch of you raise your hands. And if you haven't, I just have to say, well, why not? It's a free place for you to store your files. Everybody, no matter what, gets 3 gigabytes of storage. If you happen to be on subscription, that number jumps up to 25, which is wonderful. It's a place that, like I said, you can post your drawing files. You can save them there as a backup, for example. You can view them anytime you want to. You can access them from anywhere. So like if you end up having to work at home and you forgot to bring your files home with you, no problems. You can just grab them off of the Autodesk 360 cloud. And you can share them with other people as well. So the true collaboration aspect, right? You can store your settings, your AutoCAD settings. You can store everything in options. You can store the way your display is set up. You can store your profiles. Very, very powerful, so you don't have to ever worry about losing all that. Should AutoCAD crash on you after you load it, you can just download your settings and be right at home in no time at all. Like I said, it's a great collaboration workspace. And with AutoCAD 2014, we added in a feature called Design Feed, which is just absolutely wonderful. It allows you to post things like comments or questions and suggestions for drawings right in the drawings, and then allows you to share them online with Autodesk 360. Very, very powerful. All right, let's go take a look. In order to access the tools that are part of Autodesk 360, simply select the Autodesk 360 tab. That makes sense, right? For those of you who are astute AutoCAD users, you'll know that in AutoCAD 2013, the same tab used to say Online. Okay, so before we take a look at these, I'd like to go into the Open command. And I just want to show you that in the upper left-hand corner, you will see Autodesk 360. So you can, in any of the file dialog boxes, you're going to see that cloud that gives you access to any of the files that you have saved up on your Autodesk 360 account. So something to keep in mind. Before you go too far down the line with Autodesk 360, I think you should set up your online options. For example, do you want AutoCAD to automatically sync with your Autodesk 360 account whenever you do a save? So that means it would save it locally and it would save it up in your Autodesk 360 account. Now I like that because that means that you have access to your drawing files anywhere for the latest up-to-date file from anywhere. So you get sick, you have to stay home, like I mentioned, you can easily get to your files from anywhere. I also mentioned to you that you have the ability to sync your settings to your Autodesk 360 account. I talked quite a bit about this last year. You can save your options, your customization files, your tool palettes, templates, etc. up into your Autodesk 360 account. That really comes in handy If you decide that you're going to use an AutoCAD on a different system, you can quickly set it up the way you like to work. Or let's say things go terribly badly and you have to reload AutoCAD. As long as you have your settings saved, you can pull them down and get back up and running in your nice, comfortable environment very, very quickly. So here you can share a document. You can send an email to somebody and it will set up a link directly to your drawing file. You can collaborate now. That takes you to AutoCAD WS, which as of yesterday, Tuesday, is now called AutoCAD 360, and Design Feed, which is another new feature inside of AutoCAD 2014 that I mentioned earlier. All right, so let's go to launch the website. This is going to take me into my Autodesk 360 account. You can see what's been going on today. Looks like I was working with a couple different files today. I like to go to the Documents tab. And here you'll see all the documents that I have loaded up on my Autodesk 360 account. And many of them are in folders. Most of them are DWG files, but they could be Revit files or Inventor files. It could be a grocery list. They could be PDF files. They could be anything that you want. It's your Autodesk 360 account, and you get to pick what you want to put into that account. Now, in the lower left-hand corner, I always keep an eye on this. This shows you how much of your 25 gigabytes, if you're on subscription, remember, or 3 gigabytes, that you have currently used. So keep an eye on that. Make sure that you don't get too close to your allocated limit, right? So I'm going to go into a folder. Let's go into this one. You'll see I have 2 drawing files in this folder, and let's go into this file. So let me kind of show you what you can do inside of your Autodesk 360 account. Here's my drawing file. And you'll see, of course, I can zoom and pan. That's no big surprise. You can control layers. You can turn layers off. As I go through here, you should see some layers being turned off, right? You can add comments in. You can see that I added a comment earlier. This is my updated file. Have a nice day. I'm very friendly, but you could add, thank you, Novedge, for sponsoring this webcast. You'll see that that's another option on there. You can't really edit inside of Autodesk 360. If you want to edit, you're going to need to go to AutoCAD 360. And that, as I mentioned, was just announced, the name change. And there you'll find that you can do some basic editing of any drawing file. You'll see that you can share this drawing file with people. You can upload new versions. There's all kinds of things that you can do here inside of your Autodesk 360 account. Once again, if you want to edit, you're going to have to go to AutoCAD 360. Also free, which is good. Okay, back over to our PowerPoint. Another new feature inside of AutoCAD 2014 is Design Feed. And Design Feed, as I mentioned to you before, allows you to post comments and questions and suggestions for your drawings that you can then share online through Autodesk 360. It definitely allows you to take collaboration to the next level. Let's take a look. And I should mention that I'm going to be showing you Design Feed over a video, an existing video, because Design Feed requires two-way communication, which is really hard to do by yourself. So I'm going to be talking over a video. So you'll see that Design Feed shows up on the left-hand side of the screen as a palette, along with all of the great tools that you have as part of Design Feed. And I also showed you earlier that you turn on the Design Feed from the Autodesk 360 ribbon tab. Now, if you haven't already saved your drawing to Autodesk 360, it's going to be more than happy to let you know, because all of the tools are going to be grayed out. But once you've saved it, you can enter text to create a new post, and it's going to appear in the Design Feed whenever anybody views this drawing. Your colleagues and anyone else with access to the drawing can view and respond to your posts when they open up the drawing. And you can also tag specific people so that they receive an email notification with a link to your drawing. And when somebody replies to your post, the Design Feed immediately updates to display their response. You can associate a post with specific points in the drawing. A bubble in the drawing indicates the post number. If you select the bubble, AutoCAD zooms to that location in the drawing, expands the bubble to display the corresponding post, and then highlights the corresponding post within the Design Feed palette. You'll find similar behavior if you associate your post with an area in the drawing rather than a specific point. So after specifying 2 points in the drawing to define a rectangular area, a bubble with the corresponding post number is displayed in the drawing. So if you select the bubble, AutoCAD zooms to the area, displays its boundary and associated post, and then highlights that particular post in the design feed. Similarly, when you select a post in the design feed that is associated with a point or an area, AutoCAD zooms to that part of the drawing and displays the corresponding information in the drawing window. Now you may also want to add images in. It supports all the common image formats such as JPEGs and bitmaps. And the images are displayed along with the post right there in the design feed to help clarify questions and any information about the design. Very, very handy. And when posts in the design feed are no longer active, you can mark them as resolved. And then a control in the design feed settings enable you to hide all those resolved posts so that you can focus on the open issues. So give design feed a try. I think you'll wonder how you ever collaborated without it. I know that it has quite a few fans out there. So we're going to wrap it up here. You should know that AutoCAD 2014 supports Windows XP, Windows 7, and Windows 8. Yay! So you should be able to get that smoother pan and zoom that you would expect from Windows 8. And of course, this webcast is really about the AutoCAD Design Suite. So I can't emphasize enough how important it is that when you go to upgrade or to buy an AutoCAD, that you take a look at the AutoCAD Design Suite, because you get all of these tools built right into it. It's easy to install them. It's a one-click process, and we also make it easy for you to go from one product to another, from right inside of the product. So for example, if I'm inside of AutoCAD and I want to take it into Showcase or 3ds Max Design, it's very easy to do that with these one-click workflows. Now the other products that come with the Design Suite are very valuable. So I'm going to run through them, one at a time very quickly, hoping that at least one of them will grab you. It's such a great value in purchasing the AutoCAD Design Suite. So first off, we have Sketchbook Designer. So AutoCAD's not really good at that whole conceptual design. It's just a little too complicated for that, especially when you want to just kind of like draw on a napkin and be free form. So Sketchbook Designer makes it very easy for you to do exactly that. And you can take those designs right into AutoCAD if you want to. It's also used a lot for illustration purposes. It's just a very simple, easy-to-use program that's very powerful for conceptual design and illustration. So that's Sketchbook Designer. You might be familiar with its very popular brother, Sketchbook Pro, that even my son has on his iPad. Very powerful, creative tool. An AutoCAD Raster Design. So this is probably one of my favorite products that's part of the AutoCAD Design Suite. We all have drawings laying around that were either drawn by hand in older drawings, or maybe they were done in the early CAD days, and we don't have access to the digital data. So AutoCAD Raster Design allows you to scan in drawings and convert them to vector very easily. It's smart. It can convert objects to polylines. It can convert text to real-life text inside of AutoCAD. It can bespeckle and get rid of all those dust marks and all those copy stains. And it can even, sort it out so that it's going at the right angle. So a very, very powerful tool is Raster Design. Autodesk Showcase. I love this product too. So this is for those of you who aren't pros at doing, those awesome visualizations and renderings. Autodesk Showcase makes it really easy for you to do that. All you have to do is take your 3D models from inside of AutoCAD into Autodesk Showcase. It has a whole bunch of these very friendly and easy to use templates that allow you to really jazz your drawings up very quickly. And it's a zero-weight rendering process. It's great. You can sit down with your client and make changes in materials just like that very quickly. You can save those changes. You can publish them to HTML. It's just very, very powerful program, Autodesk Showcase. And then 3ds Max Design, well, that's the crumb to the crumb, isn't it? So 3ds Max Design, maybe not quite as easy as Showcase, but extremely powerful. You can make visuals and animations that look just like the real thing. In many cases, you can't tell the difference between it and a photograph. Very, very powerful. This is for those of you who are serious about your visualizations. So that's in the AutoCAD Design Suite Premium, right? So you pay a little bit more for that. But if you're going to get into high-end visuals, high-impact visuals, definitely take a look at 3ds Max Design. Every year I come out with a tips and tricks booklet for the latest release of AutoCAD. This year is no exception. If you want to download the PDF, make as many copies of it as you want, you can go to my blog right now, autodesk.com/Lynn Allen, and you will see, if you go down a couple of days, it was posted last week, you'll see access to my tips and tricks booklets. Like I said, make as many copies of those that you want. That's autodesk.com/Lynn Allen. I'm going to pause for a couple minutes while you write that down. Da, 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 da. That's my blog. Da, 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 da. Did you write it down? Write it down. This will be the last slide for you. I want to thank Novedge for inviting me to participate in my very first AutoCAD Design Suite 2014 webcast. I was very excited about doing this, and I appreciate them inviting me to do it. If you have additional questions, by all means, send me an email, all right? lynn.allen@autodesk.com. I want to thank you so much for your time. I hope that you found this, enjoyable but very educational. That was the key behind it, and I hope that I've encouraged you to go out and upgrade to the AutoCAD Design Suite 2014 because it's just a fabulous set of products. All right, on that note, I'm going to turn it back over to the Novedge folks. All right, so let me turn it back over to you guys.
Thank you, Lynn. That was great.
Hello. Oh, that was awesome.
Thank you. So
that was really cool. What is she going to talk about next? That was cool.
I'm gonna hand it back over to you.
Okay, cool. Actually, we might have to for the Q&A session. We might have to like open up AutoCAD just in case to demonstrate the technical aspects of it.
Okay.
Yeah. But let
me do that.
Cool. But let's see. Show my screen. Here we are. And I'm going to switch it back to Lynn. Give me a second, guys. Here we go.
Okay, and I am pulling up AutoCAD. Takes a second.
No worries. But let's start off with the first question. Let's see. Michael wants to know, Lynn, if secure load is going to keep people from customization of their workspace.
Well, I mean, it certainly, so I didn't even talk about that at all during the webcast. I mean, it certainly could keep them from customizing the workspace depending on how you set it up, but in general, everybody should still be able to go in and make the general adjustments to the ribbon and to the palette and all of that. You should be able to sort that out.
Well, awesome, Michael. I hope that answers your question. Renata wants to know, does AutoCAD have a text change all to uppercase? Does that have that capability?
Yeah, there's actually, you can do that inside of the MText editor, but there's an awesome Express tool that's been in AutoCAD for quite some time called T-Case. And T is in text and case, all one word, that allows you to take all text and switch it to uppercase or switch it to lowercase or switch it to like, sentence format so that the first character of a paragraph or of a sentence, would be uppercase. So it seems to be taking extra long probably because I'm also doing this webcast. See, that's why I wanted to do the video and not.
No worries. But I think most of these questions are probably we'll have it open just in case. But Jay wants to. Yeah. Jay wants to know.
I was just gonna say So try T-Case. It's a great Express tool.
Cool. Okay. Jay wants to know what is the accuracy of Recap photo? It looks pretty accurate to me.
So the accuracy, part of that's going to be dependent on the input device that you use. Recap Photo is kind of like a grown-up version of 123D Catch. For those of you who may have tried that in the past, that's also a free application that Autodesk has. And so Recap Photo allows much higher resolution than 123D Catch, and it's also secure. For those of you who tried 123D Catch, it all goes into the cloud, but you don't really have your own security like you do with an Autodesk 360 account. So Recap Photo allows you to keep it incredibly secure because it works via your Autodesk 360 account. And for those of you who have concerns about maybe those photographs getting out, you won't have to worry about that at all. So a lot of that is controlled by the camera itself that's taking the photo.
Cool. Okay. Kara wants to know if you use dynamic input, will the command line suggestions show up there as well?
They do. They do. That's a very good question. They do. So almost everything that I showed you on the command line works if you use dynamic input. I'm glad to hear that somebody is using that people are using dynamic input. I'm old-fashioned. I keep the command line down in the lower left-hand corner, but you should all be better than me. Don't be like me. And it does. All that stuff shows up. I'm trying to think. There's one thing that doesn't show up at the command line if you have it dynamic, and I'm sure I'll think of it by the time we're done here, but like 95% of everything I showed you can use with dynamic input. Sorry, I should know that off the top of my head, but I can't remember which one it was.
It's all good. Let's see. Casey wants to know, is it possible to disable the natural order layer sorting feature?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was thinking that same thing myself, actually. That is a very good question. And I don't know the answer to that question. As far as I know, there isn't. So who said that? Did you say Casey? Is that what you said?
Yes, Casey wants to know.
Casey, send me an email, and I'll ask the product guys if there's a way. I didn't see a way when we were like learning all about the product. They produced a preview guide, and I didn't see that in there. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a system variable that allows you to control that. Good question. I was thinking the same thing myself.
Yeah, and I just want to remind you guys too, as Lynn did in the presentation, if you guys have any questions and it's not answered here, feel free to email Lynn. And also, Autodesk has a Twitter page where the technical guys, where you can submit a tweet, and they'll do their best to answer that as well, just to put that out there.
Yeah, that's great. The Autodesk Care, they're very good at that. And also, you can go to the discussion groups as well. Maybe you have a question about a previous release of AutoCAD or something that you've run into that you can't figure out. The discussion groups, the Autodesk discussion groups, there are product support people roaming around on there, as well as all kinds of other users that are more than happy to help you answer those questions.
Yeah, since they're roaming in there, give them purpose. Submit your question. Cool. Let's see. What else do we have here? All right. Therese wants to know how does geolocation affects the geolocation affects the file size. Does the file get much bigger?
No, because it's a link. In fact, if you don't have an internet connection, you'll see that it doesn't show up. So that it does only work if you have an internet connection. So it doesn't actually change the file size per se, because once again, it's a link.
Cool.
So so you shouldn't have any issues with that, because I can see it actually puts the entire world into your drawing. Whether you like it or not, the whole world is there. So no, it just has a link and displays that via Bing Maps. So you should be fine.
Cool. Okay, and
that's a good question too. Very good question. That's a good question.
Excellent. John, okay, so this is going to be the last question for today's webcast. John wants to know, has the Action Command Recorder been updated or revamped from 2012?
Also a good question. I love the Action Recorder. I'm going to give you extra props for even mentioning it. The Action Recorder was actually written by the Express Tool guys. That's why it's so cool, right? And no, they haven't really done much at all in the last couple of releases, and I wish that they would. So nothing new in AutoCAD 2014 for the Action Recorder. However, I bet you that you wish that there were changes and enhancements, and I support you in that. So maybe I'll jet them off an email saying that somebody mentioned it. Good questions. Cool. These are great questions.
Actually, this is
and I'd like to end on one that I know the answer to, so that would be a good one.
Yep. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I'm done.
Okay, cool. Well, funny thing is,
I'm done.
Lynn opened AutoCAD, and she answered all of the questions without using AutoCAD. That's awesome. So, round of applause for that. Okay, so I'll switch back to me as the presenter. Cool.
Can you do that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I have the power. Cool.
Great.
Okay, so now that you guys can see my slides, Teresa, I'm going to answer your question in just a bit. Give me a second here. But yeah, first of all, thank you guys for attending. Thank you, Lynn, for joining us today. This was an awesome webcast, and I can't wait to upload and share this on our channels on YouTube and Vimeo as well. Now, if you're interested in purchasing a copy of AutoCAD Design Suite Premium 2014, it is available from us at Novedge in the United States with 0 sales tax. So if you want to learn more about Autodesk's professional all-in-one package for architects and designers, I encourage you to call and speak with our Autodesk specialist, Scott Hester. You can reach him at scott@novedge.com. Secondly, we have a Facebook page. We also have a blog. So if you're looking for interesting content to get like-minded perspective from industry professionals, this is a good way to do so. Have at it. If you want to get updates, like us on Facebook, and check out our blog, .novedge.com. And I want to mention, too, as well, for our next upcoming webinar next week, Uday from LibreCam from Microsoft is going to be on hand to demonstrate how efficient your workflow and machining methods can be. So it's a very powerful solution for a wide range of machining applications. So whether it's for production, mold, and die, prototyping, definitely check out this webcast with Uday from Microsoft. So for more information, go to novedge.com/webinar/73. And also, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, feel free to email me at kevin@novedge.com. And if you missed something, if the audio wasn't really all the way there, head on over to vimeo.com/Novedge and youtube.com/Novedge. Well, by today's end, we'll try to have the webinar up and ready with links and information. So on behalf of the Novedge team, I want to thank you guys for joining us. Lynn, do you have any last parting second words?
No, thank you all for joining us, and I hope it was informational to you, and I hope you guys are still awake and weren't doing your email. Thank you so much for the invitation to present. I appreciate it.
All right, so find us on Facebook, Google+, and you can also follow us at Novedge on Twitter. Thank you guys, and have a good one.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.